What's up everybody, this is Nightwing2303 from SneakerFiles.com. Today we have another performance review and it is on the adidas adiPower Howard 2. So without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into it. So as usual, start off with the bottom of the shoe. The traction has a very small section of herringbone, which is right here up at the front. Everything else is a storytelling traction pattern, and it's supposed to be shattered glass for whenever Dwight Howard breaks the backboard. So I honestly don't remember ever seeing him break a backboard, but that's basically the design feature here on the outsole. At first I did not think that this would work whatsoever, mostly because it was translucent, and secondly because it has just an awkward looking design. However, the traction worked perfectly, especially for a guard, and the strangest part was the faster that I'd move, the better that the traction would be. So usually it's the opposite. Usually if you have slow little steps, the traction will be okay. The faster that you move, if the traction can't keep up, it'll give you problems. This shoe was the complete opposite, to where the quicker that I'd be moving and the faster pace that I would change a direction, the better that the traction would be. And the funniest part is that it didn't matter what court condition I was playing on. I played on some of the dirtiest courts in these, as well as some of the cleanest, and the traction was just fantastic. As far as the cushioning is concerned, we have the Alive cushioning once again, just like in the previous adiPower Howard. This one I felt was just much better overall. The EVA foam that they use is a little bit softer, in my opinion, and then there's tons of areas in which you have compression, both in the heel and in the forefoot. With this particular colorway, it might be hard to see because this is just, they're very orange and glossy, but in the heel you had a slightly raised upper as far as the cushioning goes, and then it definitely dipped down the further that you went down the toe. So like the sides right here, you can push them down, and that's about as far off the floor you are in your forefoot, which is definitely unique, and I liked it quite a bit, especially being a guard. So for those of you who are big men and you need that heel impact protection, these definitely have you covered. Almost the entire heel is that foam, and it's very soft and responsive. And then in the forefoot, you still get that nice plush foam ride for all your cushion and support as a guard, but you are a little bit lower to the ground, so it's easier to maneuver, and you don't feel a little bit like awkward when you're a little bit higher off the ground as you would in a typical big man shoe. So the cushioning for me in these, again, it's foam based, full length. You get maximum protection in the heel, you get decent protection in the forefoot, something that I personally did like and I enjoyed greatly. So cushion for me, I thought it was awesome, and I have zero complaints. As far as the materials are concerned, we have a full-on synthetic upper. Everything is synthetic on this from heel to toe, and typically I wouldn't say that I dislike that, but in this particular situation it did work. It's durable, it's flexible, so it's not too flexible, but it's definitely flexible, and it retains its shape fairly well. Not the best, but it's definitely a step up above something like a genuine leather. Leather is a little bit more porous since it's a skin, so the more heat and moisture that you have with a leather product, it will become more and more flexible and lose its shape over time as far as in course of a game. Whereas something that's synthetic like this, it'll definitely retain its shape a little bit better, similar to a fused material since that's a synthetic, and flywire as well. So basically the materials, I thought that they were good. I have, again, no complaints with them whatsoever. As far as the fit is concerned, I absolutely love the fit. You can go true to size with these. They're not going to give you any problems. There's not a ton of padding in the shoe, but it's definitely not needed. There were no hot spots anywhere. And, like I was saying, flexibility, especially in the forefoot, was great. It's a decently mid-cut shape, so you do get that nice lockdown in the heel. And then the support cage that they have in place definitely hugs that midfoot area. So hopefully you can see this, but basically these are all independent, and then they are attached to the frame at the bottom. The frame is very similar to sprint frame. It gives you a lot more torsion and rigidity than a sprint frame. So a sprint frame would usually allow you to move a little bit more freely on the medial side, you know, going inward versus going outward where it's very stiff. This one is pretty much consistent, you know, left and right, both medial and lateral, so you get a good amount of support. And then as soon as you lace this up, that cage actually does hug your foot, keeps everything drawn in and in place where it's supposed to be. So ventilation is pretty much the only downside to this sneaker. Along the upper, all you have are some perforations along the upper, around the eyelets here, and then same thing on this side. And then you have your mesh tongue, and that's literally it. I think that there's so much space along the medial and lateral side panels to where there could have been, you know, maybe some sort of sprint skin, more perforations, something to that effect, where it would have been increased ventilation quite a bit, because really at this point anything would have been better than what they offered. But because the fit was so nice and the materials are fairly, you know, stable as far as them being synthetic, and then you have your cage, it definitely didn't lose any attributes as far as its performance features go throughout the course of a game. So I, again, definitely like these, but ventilation definitely did take a hit. That's probably the worst feature on the shoe in general, which isn't too bad in my opinion, because sometimes ventilation can be a little bit overrated. So as far as your support is concerned, you have a internal heel cup right in the heel, as most shoes do, and then like I was talking about earlier, you have your support frame here, which is very similar to the sprint frame, and then you have those little three-stripe cages along the upper as well. That's your support. That's pretty much all you need. And you know, support right in the heel, keep that locked down in, support in the midfoot to keep that locked in, and that's pretty much all you need right there, and it works perfectly well. I was definitely surprised that this shoe was able to keep up with somebody smaller and quicker than what it's intended for. This is definitely a shoe that is somewhat of a crossbreed between a lightweight guard type shoe versus a very kind of bulky, heavy boot type shoe for a larger player, and I think that they mix the two. Alright guys, so that pretty much takes care of the review on the Adidas adiPower Howard 2. Thank you guys for all your support, thanks for watching, and until next time guys, have a good one.